Welcome to What's the Truth? We are so excited that you are with us today, listening in on this exciting conversation. I am thrilled to have two friends of mine with us today from the Fayette Pregnancy Resource Center. This ministry has made such an impact on my life, and I know on so many people's lives in our community. And so Heather and Niki, thank you. Thanks for the hard work you do, and thank you for being with us today. Heather, can you go first, introducing yourself and telling us the role that you have at the Pregnancy Center?
Thank you, Stephen. My name is Heather, and I have been at the Pregnancy Center now since 2018. I actually began as an intern, and I was going to be there for 6 months, and I loved it so much, I realized it's a mission field in our backyard, and I stayed. And so I was a volunteer for many years. My previous story is actually international missions. That's what I did before I came to the Pregnancy Center, but I've been on staff since 22, and I really love what I do, and I'm the executive director.
That's great. Thanks for introducing yourself. And Niki, I know you serve as the nurse. Tell us a little bit about that role and introduce us to yourself in general, please.
Yeah, so I am the nurse manager at the center, so I oversee our medical services and all of our medical staff and volunteers. I've been there originally as well as a volunteer first for about 6 months and then came on board as the nurse manager. So I've been there about 7.5 years. I've been an OB nurse ever since I became a nurse. So for 25 years, I've been a nurse and worked in different areas of women's services. So it's always been my passion, and God's had a call on my life for pregnancy center ministry for a while. So
well, thank you for what you both do. So Heather, what is the Pregnancy Resource Center?
The Pregnancy Resource Center is a ministry that provides no-cost pregnancy services and programs to women that are in our community. And really, we want to see women make life-affirming decisions for their pregnancies, but as well as to experience that whole life change. So whereas I think in the past, Pregnancy Center work really focused on that baby and seeing that baby be saved from abortion. We're really whole life focus and ministry now. So we feel very strongly about the gospel of Jesus Christ. And so tying that into the work that we do and providing that pregnancy care.
That's great. I have a few other questions I want to ask about the center itself, but before we dive into those, Niki, OB nurse for a number of years now, kind of walk me through what it's like when a mom finds out she has an unplanned pregnancy. What are her options, and particularly how does the center come along and help in those situations?
So, often when a woman finds out that she's experiencing an unplanned pregnancy, there certainly is a lot of fear involved with that, a lot of sense of urgency. We're seeing a lot of that. So we've really done very well to make our presence known, especially on the web and being available, because women are on their phones and that's the first place they're going to go. I mean, how many times do we Google something when we want to know something? So, we have Google ads and things that are available to them so that they can find us immediately. So a lot of women are reaching out, and we're getting an opportunity to reach them in that moment, calm their fears, hopefully get them into the center, and be able to present those options to them.
Has a lot changed since Roe v. Wade was overturned? I know you mentioned the sense of urgency. Mm-hmm. Has a lot changed because of that?
Yes, in that sense of urgency. Prior to that, I think women probably sensed that they had a little more time maybe to think about it. But now that once a fetal heartbeat is detected around 6 weeks, that's what the new heartbeat law says, that you cannot have an abortion in Georgia after that point. So many women don't know that they're pregnant until they've missed their first period. Well, at that point, they're considered 4 weeks pregnant. So you're looking at a 2-week window there that they have to make a very huge decision. And so we're finding that women are panicking and rushing into this before they've had time to really think about it. So it's changed how we do it. It's changed how the ultrasound can be effective, because prior to 6 weeks on ultrasound, we can see very minimally as far as that baby. It's there, but it's so tiny and we just can't see it. Our technology isn't that advanced. And so to be able to use that as a great tool has kind of been constricted for us. So a lot of it is getting them in there and trying to just talk through their situation.
The ultrasound really is a turnkey for many women. When they come and they're scared and they're desperate, and when that ultrasound image goes up on the screen, which Niki can attest, and she sees that fluttering heartbeat, it just often changes her mind. We had a woman recently who twins popped up onto the screen, and that had a profound effect on her, changing her mind about abortion.
So can you see that even at these early weeks?
We can.
Wow.
You mean 2 sacks for twins? Yes, we can.
Wow. That must be an amazing moment when a mom walks in and sees that on the screen.
Yeah, we've had some very exciting experiences. I know one time there was a young lady and she was lying there and we were doing the ultrasound and I showed her the heartbeat and she literally sat up on the table and said, "That's a life." Yeah, and she was just overwhelmed. Yeah. So, yeah.
Recently, there was a man who, when I believe it was his wife, but when that baby came up onto the screen and that little flutter of a heartbeat, he goes, "I'm a dad." That was his first response. He said, "I'm a dad."
So generally, when people come in to the center to have an ultrasound, is it typically mom only, or does dad come along often as well? Or is it kind of 50-50?
I don't know what the numbers on that would be, but a lot of women do come in single. I would think more of our abortion-minded women are coming in single because part of that is that they're not having that support. Mm-hmm. But we do often have many men that are coming in with the women.
When you say the phrase abortion-minded, I know that means exactly what it says. Unpack that a little bit. What does that feel like when you meet someone that's abortion-minded? How does the center process that, Niki?
So the term abortion-minded means a woman who is definitely considering abortion. She has not ruled out that option. Her circumstances that she's dealing with are pushing her toward that decision. So, often these women are coming in very defeated, very emotionally distraught. So, it's a process of listening, I think, is the most important thing, to hearing what is the woman's circumstances and why is she considering abortion, so that we can meet her where she is and help, deal with all those fears and cut through the lies and the things, and then help her see that she does have support with us at the center as well.
The abortion pill. I've heard about it, read about it. People have heard about it. What is it, and what does it do? Talk to us a little bit about the abortion pill.
So the abortion pill is actually 2 pills. The first pill, which is mifepristone, it is a progesterone blocking agent. So progesterone is the hormone that helps support a pregnancy. So that drug cuts off that hormone supply. And because of that does cause the death of the baby. Then there's a second pill called misoprostol, which is taken anywhere from 24 to 48 hours after that first medication. It is a labor-inducing type drug. So that's what causes the uterus to contract and causes the uterus to expel all the contents out of the uterus. So that's the abortion pill. Where
do people get this?
Primarily, they're going to get it from an abortion clinic who is dispensing that drug. Often, though, unfortunately, because of changes in laws and things like that, women are kind of getting more desperate in how they're finding these things. So you can purchase them online through a website, either getting the medication from other clinics in the United States, or sometimes they're getting the medication from outside of the United States.
Is a prescription required?
What they do, they go through these online portals. Some of them require you to talk to a doctor, and talking means just answering some questions. You're not physically seeing a doctor in order to get the prescription. The ones that are available overseas from other countries, no, you're just ordering those medications without any medical professional oversight or consultation.
Most women that we are serving are very aware of the abortion pill, and because there is so much national attention on this issue, and it's so easy to access. In fact, that's the primary way women are aborting their babies now, is through the abortion pill. And the concerning thing with it is it's become very unregulated. And so...
Let me interrupt really quick. Primary way, is it happening at home or
absolutely.
in a medical facility?
Yeah, so basically a woman's home is becoming her abortion clinic. So that first pill they're usually getting at the abortion facility if they're going to an abortion clinic. But the second medication, which is the more intense medication, they are taking that often by themselves at home.
We've actually had women say to us, I can't go into my bathroom anymore, because they're so traumatized from the memory of delivering the contents of the uterus, that embryo, and just the intenseness of that delivery process of emptying the contents of the uterus. And so they become very emotional. They become very triggered by the fact that this happened at their own home, and that they were responsible for it, and they just did not expect it.
So what do you say to someone? Let's start with the person who's simply aware of the pill, hasn't received it in the mail or hasn't taken it. What do you say to that person? And also, what do you say to the person that maybe has the pill and is taking it, or what do you say to these people?
Well, from a medical perspective, one of the greatest things that we want to do is to educate them on the risks that are involved with that. Often the pro-abortion side says that taking the abortion pill is as safe as taking Tylenol, but that's not the truth. There's been some recent studies that have just come out that they surveyed over 860,000 patients who had been seen through their insurance company that had had abortions, and they found that the risk is actually 22 times higher than what they had originally stated in studies that they did back in 2000, late 90s. And so we're finding that women are at a huge increased risk of what we call serious adverse effects. That's infection that leads to sepsis, hemorrhaging that may lead to blood transfusions, risk of ectopic pregnancies, major trips to the hospital for these events, even death. So we want to help them understand that this isn't just simply popping a pill and everything's going to be okay. These can be life-threatening things for you. So we want them to understand what they're taking, even just from a medical side, from an emotional after effects side as well, that women have depression, women have anxiety, women can have suicidal ideation after taking the abortion pill. So, it's just not a simple fix. And so we want to educate her to make sure she understands that.
It's quite likely that some of our listeners have walked through this personally, maybe recently or maybe 15 years ago or longer. Heather, what do you say to a woman who has walked through this?
There's just so much compassion for a woman who made a decision at some point in her life and didn't know or consider that she had other options. And that's really why I think Pregnancy Help Ministry has come forward, is because we want to help a woman to think beyond the fear, the urgency of, I've just got to kind of get rid of this problem, and not really think through what the long-term effects of her decision. And so for a woman who's had an abortion in the past, we want to have compassion for her, to help her to know that there is forgiveness in Christ, and that she can experience that healing. And not just that, but that God can use her story for the good of others, to help others. In fact, I was just reading in 2 Corinthians chapter 1 this morning, and how God will use our hardship, our tribulations, and whether it be our own doing or what happens to us, but he will use it if we allow him to use it. And so we are there for the post-abortive woman. That's what we would refer to her as, whether it's been 2 months or 20 years, we want to be there for her. We actually do have an abortion recovery ministry. We have somebody that oversees that, and it could be a once-off kind of counseling session to help talk through her experience in a safe environment and be biblically informed. Or it could be a 6 or 8 week Bible study called Forgiven and Set Free, and where women in a group setting can support each other and with using the Word of God, and can find and experience that forgiveness and just process what they have gone through.
If someone is listening and would like to take advantage of what you're describing, or knows someone that might like to take advantage of it, what is their first step?
Well, they are welcome to reach out to us.
How would they do that?
If they just send an email at info@FayettePRC.com, that's info@FayettePRC.com, and just put in the subject line ARS, Abortion Recovery Support, that I will see that email, as well as some others who monitor that email account, and we will forward that to a person who will reach out to them in a confidential way and let them know that what we offer. We actually are starting a study in September, and so we would love somebody to be part of that. It's really a fantastic way. I remember one woman a few years ago, I saw her the first day she started the study, and she felt very weighed down. She had only opened up to 2 people about her experience as a teenager. And at that point, and by the end of the study, she told me, Heather, I have been carrying a weight for 40 years.
Wow.
And this 8-week study released me from that guilt and shame.
Wow.
It's phenomenal.
That's amazing. It's amazing. Thanks for sharing that. And I'm prayerful that God uses your invitation in the lives of the people that need that, and prayerful that the study will have the impact again on other people like it did on that person.
Me too.
One more question, Niki. Is it reversible, the pill?
Yes. So we do have something we call abortion pill reversal. So like I said before, the first medication in an abortion is mifepristone, which is the progesterone blocker. So we found that if after a woman takes the first pill, but before she takes that second pill, we can give her progesterone, replace that progesterone that's being blocked by that medication, then we can potentially save that pregnancy. And so they have found that they've had about a 65% rate of success with doing that with the ones that they've worked with. And that is the Abortion Pill Network, which is part of an overarching group called Heartbeat International. And so if women take that first pill and change their mind, they can call a hotline that's available through the Abortion Pill Network and be connected with a doctor close to them.
Do you happen to know, is there a number, or is something they could Google to go immediately to that?
They can Google abortion pill reversal,
Okay.
Abortion Pill Network, and they should be able to find the hotline number pretty quickly. Yeah.
Or they can contact us, and we will put them in touch.
Okay. Okay. For some reason, I'm thinking that the center has a 24/7 hotline or text service. Is that correct? And if so, how does that work?
Yeah, so on our website, there is a chat widget that's available, and 24/7, there is a nurse available to talk with someone. So,
Just out of curiosity, do people text in at all hours of the day and night?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
For sure.
They do. We actually just here in the last couple of months, we had a lady that messaged in at around, I think, 11:30 at night who was abortion minded and, was able to chat with one of our online nurses after hours, get an appointment scheduled, came into the center and we were able to meet with her, and she actually changed her mind and chose to give her baby life.
That's amazing.
So yeah, I mean, women, and we find that most of our inquiries that are coming in about abortion minded women are coming in at 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m. So it needs to be available late at night.
Can you share the website again and how to access that chat box?
Sure. Our website is Fayette PRC.com. And when you go to the website, it's going to pop right up on any one of our pages. It'll be a picture of a nurse and you can chat.
I have other questions I want to ask both of you about the medical side of things and the options that people have facing unplanned pregnancies. But before we do, Heather, let's go back to the center itself. Give us a bit of the backstory. How did it begin? What was it like in its early years, and how has it changed over these past 20 years or so?
Well, pregnancy center work really, probably in the 80s, became into existence in response to the Roe versus Wade decision in 1973. And so really in the very beginning, it was about saving that baby. I think that was the primary focus. But as pregnancy center work has come along, including our own work, which began in the early 90s through Carl and Phyllis, who are members of this church, Woolsey Baptist. They are the founders of our center. But we are more than just about the baby today. We want to, of course, reach her, especially if she's considering abortion or vulnerable to abortion, and then serve her and provide those no-cost pregnancy services and programs. But we also want to engage him. So if there is a baby, there is a man in the picture. And if he is at all in relationship with that woman, we want to engage him, because part of that support she needs to not choose abortion is to have that support from a man in her life. And so we engage him, and then we want to see whole life transformation. So families empowered with the resources, equipped to know how to parent, to change a generation. In fact, Niki, you should tell about that woman recently, Nadine, we'll call her Nadine, and we served her back in 2018. She was considering abortion. And tell about that story today, because I think it's a real example of how we reached her, served her. She changed her mind about abortion, and now she's really experiencing full transformation.
So, yes, she came to our center in 2018. She had actually planned to schedule an appointment with Planned Parenthood, and the only appointment they had available was weeks out. And she was actually going to be going out of town to see her family, so she couldn't go see Planned Parenthood. And so she happened to find us and made an appointment with us, and I was able to meet with her. Her story resonated with me. She was a nurse who had fallen into drug addiction and was just trying to crawl her way out of that. The father of the baby was still addicted to drugs, and so just didn't have support here. She had family in Oklahoma that could support her. She had lost custody of both her children, so just really in a stressful situation. So I got to meet with her. I ended up meeting with her outside of the center a couple of times just to really try to pour into her spiritually and give her encouragement. She ended up moving back home to Oklahoma to be with her parents. She decided to move forward with parenting the baby, and she had her baby. And I kept in touch with her for a while, and then I lost touch. And here recently, a couple of weeks ago, I was going through my phone, and I realized I still had her phone number. And so I sent a text message just saying, hey, is this still Nadine's number? And she said yes. And long story short, just came to find out that she's really thriving. She's doing great. Her baby is not a baby anymore. She's 6 years old.
Wow.
And she's gotten custody of both her children back. She's flourishing in her relationship with the Lord. And it's just a wonderful story, over time, how, we can impact people, even when we lose touch and don't know what happens.
Well, it's a good reminder that the Lord is always at work around us, and He's always doing what He wants and wills to accomplish. And us, we're simply His servants, right? His hands and His feet.
The conduit.
Very well said. Heather and Niki, thank you so much for answering the questions and sharing from your heart and also your experience about what's going on at the Fayette Pregnancy Resource Center. And thanks to our listeners for joining us for this podcast. We're going to hear more from Niki and Heather in a future podcast. In the meantime, take a moment to like or subscribe to What's the Truth, and feel free to pass it along to your friends. It's available on any of the major podcast platforms. We are releasing episodes every other Tuesday, and trust that these are not only a blessing to you, but also to others you share them with.